or 1 lakhs of different reports, it can at least shortlist couple of reports where disease is lying, where faults are there, like in retail. So for product recommendation, AI is used. So here again, the recommended systems will be used. Then transportation, smart navigation. So optimize routes using real-time traffic and weather reduces the time traveled by 25%. That even on Google Maps, you can see that sometimes it may notify that there is a heavy traffic ahead. So taking a different route might be better. Or it can also notify you that if you missed a particular turn, that the route have changed or you missed a turn. So all of those things can be implemented in the transportation itself. Yeah. So old AI, which is basically spanning from 2010 to 20, where machine learning and normal neural networks were prominent. They were used for classification, detection, prediction, and analysis itself. So they could identify patterns and make decisions, but couldn't create new content. Okay. Now, though, from 2022, where basically the wave of GPT-3, okay, came into the picture, from there to now, we are using AI excessively in generating new content itself. So creating text, generating images, writing code, which is very, very little, increasing the use over here. Also composing the music creates original content that didn't exist before. Okay. So you have over 100 or not just 100, 1,000 plus tools to do all of these things nowadays. It just one tool does some things better than other because even if all of you have used Claude, GPT, Gemini, or maybe some other models, so there is no universal model which is good in each and every aspect. Some models are good in one particular aspect, some models are good in other. Like, okay. So the capability differs over. Also, why learning AI matters. So 92% of developers, be it software engineers, now use AI coding assistant daily. So AI coding assistants like your Microsoft Copilot is there, Google's anti-gravity is there, Cursor is there. So that whatever the amount of code they are writing increases as compared to the timeline itself. Okay. So 2 to 3 times productivity. So average time savings on coding, writing, and research tasks. So there is a lot of time which is being saved for writing and research tasks as well. And because of this, there are new career paths as well. For example, you have AI prompt engineer, AI ethics specialist, ML engineer, and so on. The question isn't should I learn AI or not, but when we should start it. Okay. Also, one very important factor is prompt engineering. Okay, there was a lot of buzz as well when generative AI came into the picture. Nowadays, instead of prompt engineering, you have something called as context engineering. Okay, considering the agentic AI. Now, this generative AI models, we as an input, whatever prompt we are giving, that acts as an input over there. Okay, and based on that input, it is going to respond to you. So in this case, that is why it is very crucial that the prompt you're giving is optimal and is proper to get the effective outcome from your large language models or large vision model. Because if your prompt is not good, what your output you will be getting might be gibberish as well. Or you might uh, fall into the state where you are constantly telling your AI, please, for the sake of God, only do this, do that. Don't do it like this. Okay. Anyone experience this, by the way? How many of you? Yeah, you guys. Have you guys experienced it? Like while using Gemini, GPT, or even Claude, that whatever you have told it, it is not actually performing according to you properly. Maybe not it. When you actually use it extensively at that time, you will find these problems. Like, there are some ethical and some technical problems as well, which needs to be solved, like hallucination is there. Okay, we'll talk about it in a bit. There are one main claiming conflict in that there was one kid work. Okay. All right. Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, you were giving based on that. Yes, that is right. So these are a couple of things which you actually use uh, on the daily basis as well. Some of you might have used all of them. At least ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Copilot, you all have might have used. There is also one application called as Midjourney. Although it is not free, but if you want to create content revolving around images or videos, Midjourney is excellent. Okay, even at their home page, you can see some of their demo things. So you can see the images. Or okay. You can see the quality of images. So basically, prior to this, we would have spent thousands or sometimes lakhs of rupees as well for the content creation. But nowadays we can create even ads, okay, for marketing campaign and stuff through these applications. Because many companies, we all know that they spend a lot of money towards creating ads or running these marketing campaigns themselves. So a lot of resources are spent there. So, but through these tools themselves, we are able to efficiently organize or allocate the resources there. Along with this content creation, we can also do things like targeted advertisement. Like by using simplest machine learning model itself, can actually achieve that. That you can figure out if you're selling a particular product or particular service, what kind of group of people are more likely to buy your product or buy your service. After figuring that out, you can market to only those group of people. So it saves a lot of resources in marketing campaign as well. And not just this advanced algorithm, but even simple machine learning algorithms are also utilized in figuring that. All right. So we'll do one thing. We'll understand about generative AI as well. So through this, I hope you'll be able to get a proper understanding what is generative AI and the difference between generative and your traditional machine learning or discriminative AI and as well as your agentic AI. See. So generative AI refers to the algorithms that can generate new content such as images, text, music based on the training data. So whatever training data we are providing, our algorithms will learn from that training data and utilizing that to generate some new form of content. It can be text, it can be images, audio files, or some other type of content as well. It operates on the principle of learning patterns and structures from existing data to create new similar output. The process of learning from existing content is called as training, and the result this results in creation of a statistical model. So these large language models, those are nothing new. Just like our machine learning models, neural network models, they were mathematical or statistical models. These are also statistical models. Okay. So when given a prompt, generative AI uses this statistical model to predict what an expected outcome might be, and with this, it generates the new outcome. So when we give the prompt becomes our input. And based on this input, what will be the predictions? Okay, that predictions it is going to generate. Now, why we are saying generative AI or why we are not saying that for the same prompt, why don't we get let's say the same output? For example, let's say uh, if I use started GPT itself, so everyone is fine. So these large language models. Okay. Everyone have used GPT? Okay. ChatGPT is an application or a model? Is it application or a model? It is an application actually. ChatGPT is an application and the models are GPT that you see GPT 5.1, 5.2, GPT-4. These are the models behind ChatGPT application. So just like ChatGPT is just a chatbot and powered by this large language model. So using or utilizing these same very large language models, you can build different kinds of applications as well. Okay. So these large language models, what they try to do, at least priorly, was whatever prompt you are giving, based on their understanding of the prompt, they were trying to figure out what will be the next predicted word. Means kind of like trying to smart autocomplete system trying to predict what comes next after a particular word or after a particular phrase over there. For example, if I give roses are red, okay, I'm not typing anything. Although nowadays it will do much more than that because there are internal different types of prompt engineering related things like prompt patterns are they have implemented like chain of thought prompt, React prompting like that. So it will give some excess information as well. But you can see over here that when I give the similar or same prompt, okay, it is it is not necessary that it will give me the same output. That is why we say that this large language model or this generative AI models are non-deterministic. Non-deterministic means even if I give same input, doesn't necessarily mean it will give me the same output. See over here. So if I go for roses are red, it simply completes this. Okay. Did I say complete this particular sentence? No. It understood that this is the first sentence and it is crucial to complete it. Roses are red, violets are blue, code runs perfectly until it sees you. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes it happens like, अभी तो कोड वर्क हो रहा था भाई लाइक अभी काम नहीं कर रहा है like that इस वजह से so let's say I will give the same input again. Roses are red. So when we say non-deterministic, that means even if I am giving the same input, the output may differ over it. Roses are red, violets are blue. I started with Python. Now I debug life too. Okay. So like this. So we can say that these are generative models are non-deterministic. They basically try to predict what is the next possible word in a sentence. Now, when given a prompt, GenAI uses the statistical model to predict what an expected outcome might be. So again, discriminative and generative AI, discriminative models are used to classify data by learning the decision boundary between different classes. So they predict labels given features and focus on probability of Y given this X value. So what we saw in machine learning, that is your discriminative AI. In generative AI, they aim to model the joint probability distribution. So here also you can see these are nothing but statistical model. They try to predict that whatever the next word is going to come or the set of words are there, what is the joint probability there, okay, of these words. So they can generate new data points, making them suitable for applications like image generation. You guys need 5 minutes of break or shall we continue? Uh, be frank, like what? Continue? Okay. So now here transformers architecture, we talked about like what is the role of it in generative AI. So transformers are a type of neural network architecture that excels in processing sequential data, particularly in natural language processing. Okay. Although 2017, when transformers architecture came, they were more focused towards natural language processing. Okay, means our textual data. But later on, the implementations of transforms or because of the success it had, they were utilized in your image generation or audio generation as well. Okay. So it can be even your GPT. Anyone knows the full form of it? Full form of GPT? Right? That is generative pre-trained transformers. Okay. So in the name itself, they have transformers over here. Okay. So transformers are used for text generation in chatbots and content creation, and for translation as well, enhancing the accuracy of language translation services. There are different kinds of models as well. Multiple modalities are there, like text to image, text to video, text to task, like this. Now, there are foundation models. This foundation models means your GPT, BERT, like that. Okay, why we call them foundation models? Now, in these large language models, we call them as large, okay, but the general term is language modeling. Basically, we are training our algorithm so that it will be able to learn patterns or learn the context which we have in our natural language world. We call them as large language models because they have been trained on very large amount of it. You can say internet data itself. Okay. So if you see the primary algorithm or primary GPT model, okay, it was trained on very huge amount of data, and the amount of electricity required to train that model was enough to actually run an entire village for an entire month. That much electricity it was required. Okay. And that is also the reason that we at personal level cannot train these large language models, large vision models, and so on. Okay. Now, if you are from Ambani family, then you may very well do that, but not our we middle class. So that is also why many companies, you will see, even small to intermediate companies, they do not go for their own model. They go for these companies through their APIs, like Google or OpenAI, they use their models themselves. Because for a company, if they wanted to build their own model, okay, they would have to spend lots of amount of money as well on the hardware, on the amount of data, everything, okay, millions of dollars. And that is also why, heard about DeepSeek model? DeepSeek, no? DeepSeek, in the last year, around I think November or something, DeepSeek models were by in China, China developed them, and there was actually a lot of hype and lot of things going on there because it was actually at that time your Chat GPT or GPT models or Gemini models are very prominent kind of head in the AI research. DeepSeek model being completely open source actually beat all of these models at that particular time. And this was considering they spent very less amount of money in order to train their model. Where your GPT models basically needed billions of dollars. The expenditure for DeepSeek model was around just $6 to $10 million. And this was again a side project in China. So that was why there was a lot of hype going on regarding the training or the training methods of the AI models, these large language models at that time. But still, on a personal level, we cannot build them. That is why you have the concept of foundation models. Here, the concept of transfer learning is important. Yeah. Now, basically, what we do over here, let's say you want to train a particular model on your own way. Nowadays, you give access to the internet and stuff, but let's say your organization from internal working is there. It's obviously not on the internet. Some sensitive data is there, and you have some uh, model over there, and you want model should have the information regarding this language. So there are two things like fine tuning and RAG, which you can implement over here. So considering fine tuning, what you do that you take any foundation model, be it GPT, BERT, or anything, and whatever your use case is, whatever your data is, you train, okay, fine tune that particular model on your use. Okay, that is what fine tuning. So that that model will also learn from your data. So that if you ask anything about your data, something related to your data, it will be able to get that answer, answer that answer. That is what fine tuning. Generally, nowadays, people still pick RAG in some aspect because fine tuning, even though lot of training is not there, now you are not changing the entire model, you're utilizing the plan only and then utilizing that knowledge on some other data. But still, learning or training is going to happen, which may cause a lot of computation. That is why RAG, another thing, comes into the picture. You simply give model, just like you give access to internet search and stuff, simply give access to the separate data which you are having, and your model will be able to run that data as well to utilize. So now why generative AI is transformative for sciences as well? So it accelerates discovery speed. So just say in this case, literature review for researchers, okay, they had to spend around 3 months for hypothesis generation, 2 months for experimental design, and 1 month over year. So total 6 to 7 months before the first experimentation starts. But through generative AI, you can do some miscellaneous tasks like literature review, summarization within a week, hypothesis generation within a week as well. So it is around 5 to 10 times faster to get done with this primary work in research itself. There is also one real case study for protein folding called as AlphaFold. Also, in my opinion, AlphaFold, as I said, many of these companies are focused towards Bangalore. That is also why I generally prefer Google over other companies because Google at least is more diverse, okay, when using or utilizing these models. Not just chatbots, but many different disciplines it tries to implement. One of implementation was AlphaFold. So also value the single best implementation or simple single best fruitful implementation. So Google AlphaFold, nowadays they have Google AlphaFold 3. So Google AlphaFold 2 was there around 2019, 2020. It was used to figure out the protein structures in our DNA. Okay. So generally, scientists needed over 50 plus years of combined human efforts. Combined means thousands of researchers combining it to understand how proteins fold. Okay. But for AlphaFold, AI predicted 200 million protein structures in a week. It basically impacted in the drug discovery, and it now starts with the known protein structure basically saving around 500 millions. Okay. So time saved was, even though here we have written 5 to 10 years, it is much more time. You can also visit the AlphaFold's website, by the way. So if you want to see the structure of a particular protein, they have made the data set available as an open source as well. You can freely use or utilize it. Even for researchers, they give the access to AlphaFold models themselves in order for drug discovery or any disease is there to escalate drug discovery for them. Okay. It also enables analysis on massive data, like for material science. So testing all possible material combination, it is infinite. Traditional experiments, one combination to do. But with Gen AI approach, you can generate a basically candidate materials computationally that whatever test you want to do, it can generate, which will be the top 20 candidate which you should look out for. So democratizes expertise. So without Gen AI, like healthcare, only experts in high income countries have diagnostic tools. Material science, only big companies can afford research infrastructure itself. Agriculture, farmers in developing regions can't access crop optimization. So, but with generative AI, a farmer in rural area or India can use Gemini, which is again a free to diagnose crop disease from a photo. They can basically check that on a leaf, if there is a particular disease they are not able to identify, they can simply click a picture, give it to Gemini or some other model, and it will not just tell you in just one word that this is the disease, but it can tell you the causes, what should be the remedies, or what steps a farmer should take. All of that information over there. Researchers anywhere can access AlphaFold as well to predict the protein structures. Healthcare workers can summarize complex medical literatures instantly as well. Because traditionally, like in order to uh, do any kind of research or thesis, you have to go through lots of research papers. And many times, one particular research paper, it may take 10, 20, or 30 days as well in order to understand the entire research paper. So through AI itself, you can easily understand that research paper through summarization, through going deep into a particular topic. For example, this transformers architecture. This research paper, attention is all you need. The scientists themselves did not know that this chemical transforms architecture can completely change the landscape of the air. So they did not explain a lot of things which they use in their architecture. So going through the research paper is a complete mess and very, very tough thing to do to understand everything because they have not explained many of them. But through AI, I can feed that particular business people and ask about like a particular topics understanding, maybe the summarization, maybe if it is relevant to what I'm doing on top, all of these things. Cost impact, AlphaFold license basically is open source and traditional protein structure prediction based one particular protein structure, you have to spend around $500,000 itself. So its impact was 200 million protein predictions instantly available to everyone. Okay. Hmm. So here also you can see some real world application across various industries. Like for healthcare, drug discovery is one, medical imaging analysis is another. For entertainment, you can use multiple different platforms for content creation, games, and so on. Marketing, you can use personalization. So based on personal preference of a customer, you can market them about a particular service or particular product over there. Now, for example, when we are considering entertainment for content creation, so you can use for image generation, video generation is there, even text to speech translation, or uh, based on if you want to do voice flow, that is also possible. So there are multiple tools. Anyone got the lap along with them? They can do along with me as well, just in case, if you want to check. Those who are online, they can actually do it. So we do have another tool called as Lumen. Right. Give me a second. Currently, was artist, not Lumen 5. This is Lumen 5. 5 is also really good. Now, things like if you want to do content creation or maybe create an entire ad based on some kind of content or context, that also you can do with visualization videos. Okay. One of the videos I also tried, although like not up to the date, but you can see it as well over here. Of course, it gives you a couple of videos like for free, but later on you may have to purchase subscription. But again, for intermediates, even small company, instead of hiring someone to for the entire video creation, entire team, you can just hire someone who is able to utilize these tools. and save lots of money as well. Okay, just a second. So, so this is the what I did was just give it a script or kind of like content, of course, not properly given, but still it kind of created a background video as well, which may match to whatever content I have given. Okay, so like this. This was again based on if you are more clear about how you want to create the advertisement or which visuals you want to use. I have basically did not spend as much time, hardly 2 to 3 minutes I spent on this. And based on that, it was able to. So for marketing, you can do it like this. Even things like voice clones, those are also possible. If you want to clone someone's voice, or if you have a voice over there, maybe you are utilizing it for a company which specializes in, let's say, audiobooks. Okay. So for that also, you can utilize things like voice cloning out there. Now, there are a couple of things we need to be careful about these things. Ethical aspects are there, reproducibility, bias challenges are there. So, first and foremost is bias in training data. All these algorithms, okay, since they have been trained on very large amount of data and preferably internet data itself, and considering the internet data is very, very huge. So there is no manual thing or person who is going to check each and every line in that and then decide, oh, good, this is bad like that. So all of the internet data has been fed to our particular model. And that is why internet can be a scary place, and that's why what your model is going to learn from that internet data may be biased towards a particular thing. So for example, if I am training a particular model, but I gave that particular model the data regarding a particular race, particular religion, particular group of people, so it is just going to learn from that. So you things like discrimination, being biased towards one particular ideology itself. Okay, these are the common problems which may be there. Even initially, you will see there was a lot of complaints regarding these different models, that this model is more biased towards a particular group of people, particular religion. Like historical hiring data, if you give, so AI will learn sexism. There was actually one real example as well where Amazon built a recruiting tool trained on the historical hiring data. So, in order to recruit people, what they did, so why not build a tool for that? And the data used was historical, let's say from 2000 to 2010, 12, like that. And historically, although we all are equal, historically, you can see that men were hired more as compared to women. Okay. So this bias was there in the data. Okay. So when model learned from that data, that model also learned the bias. Okay. So that is why tool discriminated against women because more men were hired historically. Also, so that is why companies scrap the entire system after discovering this bias. And although Amazon doesn't really admit this, with upfront, uh, accountability, but this was one real case study as well. ठीक है? Another thing, hallucination and false citation. So generative AI can confidently generate the false information as well. Might cite research paper that do not exist. Primarily as well, if you asked even GPT or Gemini that this is the research paper I have written, accordingly cite this research paper. So it will cite the research paper which have no relevance towards this, maybe just the title is similar or something, or it will also cite a research paper which does not exist as well. So that is what your hallucination is. Giving the responses which are completely like rubbish, or you can say not trustworthy at all. So it doesn't stop at that, by the way. If you say, like, okay, but this is not the case, or this is the wrong information you are saying, it will also try its best to convince you that whatever it has told is correct. And it will sound so convincing that you will be basically like end up trusting it as well. You may even doubt yourself, okay, maybe my knowledge might not be like up to the date, and this is correct, like that. And this hallucination was a big problem. Even nowadays it's still a problem, and that is why you have methods like RAG, where at least for some information you can give some external source, where to answer it will always refer to that source first and then only state the fact. Okay, so real example. So lawyers use ChatGPT to file a legal brief. Citations were fabricated. So for legal brief, many times lawyers have to cite that this particular incident was similar incident happened in, let's say, 1999, 2007, and at that time Supreme Court favored to give this particular verdict and stuff. So when ChatGPT gave them this citation, they were fabricated. These cases did not exist as well. So lawyers were fined over 5,000, and plus they also had to suffer from the reputation damage itself. Why it happens again? Generative AI trained to predict what word comes next based on the patterns. No built-in fact checker. They do not have any built-in fact checker. Like whatever I'm generating, is it factual or fabricated? They don't care at all about that. What they just do, they predict the next word, they generate the content. That's it. Reproducibility issues. Now, this generative AI output have randomness. That is why we said these are non-deterministic, right? So that is why for same input, you cannot get same output. And that is also why if you want to reproduce a particular thing again, so because of this randomness, because of this unpredictedness or unpredictability, you are not able to reproduce a particular result from the scratch. Intellectual property and copyright. Now, generating AI trained on copyrighted works without permission, generated outputs might resemble copyrighted material as well. Now, you can see that these companies, be it OpenAI, Gemini, or any other Anthropic Claude, okay, all of them have been trained on the very large amount of internet data itself. And on the internet, many of the authors have put their stories, put their written work, writing work, and so on. And since they use all of these models in order to train on that data, right? So that is why that model also learned from those books. And basically, that is why, let's say, a particular text, particular thing is, if it is copyrighted, and whatever response you are getting, maybe you are writing your own book, maybe you are writing or creating a product of your own. So if that particular content is a part of that, so you will be facing some legal issues and copyrighted things as well. Okay. So that is why who owns AI generated content, creator or the AI company? That is also the question over here. Okay. Misinformation and deepfake. Now, this is also becoming a problem nowadays, that considering the image generation or video generation itself, so far you're still able to check, or if you're still able to identify whether it is a fake photo or fake video or AI generated video or not. But this particular distinguish uh, between actual content and the AI generated content is getting smaller and smaller. That nowadays you will also see there are some videos that it will be very hard to understand or to identify whether it is AI generated or not. So basically, if a person is making use of this for other reasons, okay, immoral reasons, so it will be very hard to control the damage at all. Because let's say a particular thing is published, okay, some fake video. People will start believing it. And let's say after a couple of days, even though, it is proof that particular video, that particular image was false or fake, considering the mindset of people itself, they will find it very hard to actually believe the later truth itself. Okay. So deepfake videos of political figures saying things they never said could be their potential to manipulate elections as well. Yeah, फिर spread misinformation. All of these things can be done with AI. Okay, and that is why it is crucial to regulate the use of AI itself over here. There are some challenges of environmental impact as well. Like training large generative AI models uses enormous energy. For example, for GPT-3 training, around 1000 megawatt electricity was used. So basically, carbon footprint of it was 250 plus homes for an year. Okay. So whatever carbon is generated by 250 plus houses was enough for this. So then data privacy, generative AI trained on internet data might have user model might accidentally leak sensitive information. That is also why many of the companies, organization, they are still very strict about how you're using these models into their workflows. For example, if API key gets leaked over here, that is an issue. For example, some sensitive information about the company is leaked over here, that will again be an issue because these models are also being trained on whatever information you are putting. Okay, so later on these can become challenges to solve. Okay. We Another thing that we talked about is agentic AI. Okay, so in generative AI, we are just generating the content. Okay, so we are just generating new content over here, but it is not able to take any kind of action. In agentic AI, here again we will be using LLM itself. Okay, just like for generative AI, we have LLM over here. Similarly, here also we will have LLM. But now in this case, we are going to give it a goal or a task, and it is going to have access to its environment. Environment means whatever tools and things we are giving it. Now, based what it will do, based on the environment, whatever tools, whatever APIs, whatever functions we are giving, it is going to work towards completing this goal or task over here. Okay. So it may happen that on the first try, it may not achieve this particular goal. That is why it will keep on iterating as well, keep on improving itself as well. And sometimes, let's say if there is a task that, let's say, generate trip plan, okay, book flight, and also book hotels. Okay. So in this case, you can see after generating the trip plan, LLM will be there. Okay. It will generate a trip plan. You tell it to book a flight. Okay. So what it will do, it may access the app, let's say, Make My Trip. Okay. It will also have the access to your bank account. Okay. So what you are giving this LLM the access of all these things. That is what makes it agentic. Okay. So in this case, it will access Make My Trip, will look for flight, okay, maybe for hotels, Agoda, maybe RTC, I think that app. So, and after finding the flight to book for, now it needs to do the payment. Okay. So things like bank information, payments, these are sensitive and very important. And that's why whatever automation you want, you don't want in these kind of sensitive things. Here you want the human intervention. So there is a concept of human in the loop. So at these kind of things, you want that unless and until you give permission or this particular agent before completing this particular task should ask your permission first. So, for example, without confirming the flight, let's say had the fare of 1 lakh itself. What if without confirming, it directly booked that flight? considering you have that much money in bank account itself. Okay, like that. So that may become an issue. So that is why you always need human in the loop in the agentic AI workflows. There are multiple kinds of different kinds of workflows. Sometimes you may want, let's say there is a workflow, let's say for hiring. Okay. Basically, you're generating the job description. Okay. You're posting it on, let's say, platforms like LinkedIn, maybe Naukri.com. Then whichever people are going to put resume. Okay. You want to scan those resumes, give some ATS score over there out of 100, and then select candidate. Okay. Then schedule interview and so on. Okay. So you can see this can be an agentic workflow. Or here, your AI agent. Okay. Your AI agent, what it will do, generate job description, but now here. Okay. And now we want to put it on LinkedIn or Naukri.com. Here we need to give it access to LinkedIn account of the company and stuff. So here it will do. Now here it won't be like, you put job description and everyone like, fill in the resume and you again do it. Maybe you're waiting for 7 days. So this kind of delay also it should be able to handle. That you're not stopping the entire workflow here. It is still continuing on, but automatically it will work for wait for 7 days. Then it will check which resumes are there, give ATS code to them, and whichever, let's say you say select top five or top three candidates, it will select them and schedule the interview as well. For scheduling interview as well, you may have to like, say, key ask before scheduling. So basically, it will show you like, is it okay to schedule at 6 p.m. or something like that. But let's say you find out that the suggested date is on Sunday. You may reject it and may like, ask it to schedule it on Monday or something. So here also you will see human in the loop. Okay. It may also happen. But let's say if there are no candidates selected because you had the minimum criteria of 90, but everyone was below 90. So for that, in that case, obviously it will not select anyone. So in that case, what it should do, that also like, you have to define. So agentic AI workflow, when you are building, you have to consider about different kinds of possibilities over there. Okay. Understood how agentic workflows are? Right. So best practices are here. First of all, human in the loop. So AI assist human doesn't replace decisions. Okay, this is another thing. Like many of people think, okay, if agentic AI is there, why not like make everything automatic? This is the reason. Okay, transparency, disclose when AI is used, what model, known limitations as well, specifically when news related things. Verification, always double check facts, especially in high stake domains. Uh, Always like whatever you're citing, if it is important, always double check whether whatever factual information your model has given, whether it is indeed true or not. Okay. Diversity, ensure diverse perspectives in AI development, like plus testing, documentation, record prompts, parameters, results for reproducibility. Although we cannot reproduce the exact same result every time, but it will be at least very close to the possible outcome which you want. Ethics review for high impact applications, review ethical implications, and always continuously monitor to track the performance over time of the model. Okay. So, any questions so far in this case for everyone was basically so that no matter what domain you are in, okay, you should be able to understand how these models actually work. So that through giving better prompts, through being able to understand these models, you will be able to use these models efficiently for your use cases, no matter what domain you are using it, be it healthcare, be it finance, be it your agriculture field, or be it your homework as well. Okay. So that is, or that was the main agenda of this AI for everyone was. So I won't be able to see. All right. Let me know from online if you guys have any questions or doubts. I'll try my best to answer your queries. Hopefully, all of you enjoyed the session as well. And hopefully, I was able to add in to your existing knowledge as well. Yes, those who are online, any questions? So, those who are already working, you guys have like, any use case there in your. Okay. Okay. Fine. Yes, yes, Microsoft Copilot is there. There. Application, Copilot application. Okay. Fine. Okay. Yeah, it is very crucial to understand actually whether to use AI, whether there is a need of AI at all or not. Otherwise, what many people do that they try to implement AI even though there is no, it is not necessary at all. So it is very crucial to understand that first. Yes, 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 yes. These are like, very well where you can utilize. Yes, yes, yes. Um, Yes. I've used MCP generate automation script. Yeah, that's nice, Deepak. MCP are like, very good. This is basically the protocol for like in agentic AI. As I said, you give model the ability or the access to tools, various APIs or function. So for that, MCP is used. Now, MCP, by the way, just like MCP, your agent protocol is there, which is I think used by Google. MCP is used by Anthropic over there. Yes, yes. Any questions or anything else? Used it anywhere in company yet? Started. Okay. Okay. All okay. All right. Okay. What are included in those plans exactly? Like when you're providing your software as a service, what is exactly included in that? If you know. Huh. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah, yeah. So everything planning from planning and everything. Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah, that actually there like you can efficiently use AI there. So and it will be very very efficient. Speed as well be very fast at that time. Sir, you any means do you think anywhere else you can implement AI in your own specific field? Okay. Huh. Yes. 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 Yeah, I mean, accountability is also very important. So if AI is saying something, you also need what is the source of it in a way. When many people generally tend to believe let's say AI system is saying something and same thing said by expert or practitioner. Okay, so practitioner will always hold an edge over there, at least nowadays. Yes. Yes. Any other question from online people or there? आणखी आलंय ना? Right. मॅडम किंवा कोणाला ऍडजस्ट करायचंय? We will wait for 5 minutes if you guys still have any questions or doubts. You know. Yes. Thank you, Abhi. Yes. You guys, by the way, have anything in mind where you can use the AI or maybe any kind of project in your academic curriculum you can use? Creating images for presentation. That's nice. By the way, any of you also have to create presentations and stuff? PPTs. So there is also okay, give me a topic. Give me a topic. Anything. Okay. By the way, these slides, not this, this at least. AI. Yeah. When you want control through the very micro level, okay, at that time obviously AI will be kind of hard to do because if it make changes in something, it may make changes in the things which you don't actually want. Yes. So I do still have recommendation for a tool called as Gamma. Yes. I'll show you just everyone how yes uh, how this actually works. So, for example, we will have a topic. Yes. What was your SaaS product? Can you just describe in a bit? Okay. So, just a second. ठीक है, ठीक है. Just five. Perfect. Yes. So let's say I want to create a slide maybe for marketing a particular SaaS product, which will be providing the platform for online exhibitors and stuff. Okay. So, so I will do one thing now. Gamma I will be using, but since I need the details of the slides as well, I will use Perplexity or maybe Gemini to create that content. And once I create that content, I will provide that to Gamma. Yeah. Okay. Order. So I'll just describe what I exactly need in short. So slide content for Gamma on, let's say, marketing and uses of SaaS. Shall we call it something? Name? Exhibitor? Manual? Uh, and basically the product, what it does, provides information for visitors through organizers. I'm also using Perplexity just in case because it is very up to date with actual factual information. Like as compared to other models, if you want to focus on more on facts, okay, or market research, so Perplexity is better generally. Okay. So it has hallucinates very, very less as compared to other model. Say so for gamma, who's this? Just a second. This is not gamma. I don't know why. Anyone explains like at least for this Edge browser, it is actually like not giving you properly. It's a great new. I will paste all of it. Okay. Continue to prompt editor, and you can also see that you get control over like whatever slide you want minimum. So I'll keep it a bit concise. The theme I will keep body ink over here. Source, there are multiple source if you want to like put over here. Aside from that, whatever images and arts are generated, okay, if you want, let's say 3D, your realistic or something, you can add them. So I'll keep it by default for now, and without much changes or much things, I will simply say generate. But if for free plan, by the way, it gives you 10 cards. But if you upgrade, so you can have 20, 100 slides per day as well. So exhibitor manual. centralized information hub for your exhibitors. Okay. Also, by the way, you are freely can edit this text as well over here. Okay. Here it has planned what are the challenges a organizer can face, common pain points, consequences could be there, exhibitor's perspective over here, information scattered everywhere, unclear deadlines or requirements, introducing exhibitor manual over here. So you're introducing your own product over here, what exactly it is. Okay. Later on, powerful features of organizers, what exhibitors love. You can put here downloadable resources as well. So at least in compared to past couple of months, Gamma has improved a lot. Okay. You can also see real world use cases over here, like 60-day before the event, 30-day before the event, like what exactly will be the workflow. And yeah. So kind of, I do think kind of great, like with the amount of time we are given. Because just to, even if I had the entire content, if I have to do it everything from scratch, to take at least 2, 3 hours minimum at least to create. Okay? So after that, you can fine tune it as well. This is just one of the tools. Again, there are many different tools which can. Anyway, so yeah, what prompt we can the Excel sheet with the help of AI tool if we had given a task to generate Excel sheet. So if you meant to create, let's say, some kind of synthetic data, okay, Sochi, yes. So if your question is about how we can generate a synthetic data in Excel format, so you can do it through Claude or your Gemini. I'm not sure about Gemini, but for GPT, you can create Excel sheets as well, be it Excel sheets, CSV sheets. You can create all of them. Okay. And for the prompt, you can just see, if you want to generate the synthetic data, let's say about student performance, you can simply say that generate synthetic data about students having failed student name, their roll number, marks, maybe academic performance, like all of this, and generating some, let's say, Excel format, JSON format, CSV format. You can just take the format directly. So just be clear with your own, you can say, explanation or the prompt, and it will be able to do that. Yes, hopefully I was able to answer your question. Anyone else have any different question or anything? All right then. So hopefully everyone enjoyed the session. Have to put at least a little bit kind of like a droplet in your already vast knowledge of ocean of knowledge. We'll end our today's session of AI for everyone. Regarding the certificates, those who are offline, you will get in a bit, and those who are offline, you will get in a bit. Those who are online, you will also get your e-certificates, maybe by today itself. Okay. Uh, Let me know again if you have any questions or doubts regarding our session or maybe something else. So yeah, thank you for your patience as well, everyone. Have a nice day to everyone as well. Yes.